Hello and welcome. I'm Doris Benter of Library Arts, and I'm so glad you're joining me here today for the program. And you know, it's that time of year again when we're thinking about fall and we're thinking about Halloween and our costumes. And I thought it would be fun to create a drawing of what I call pumpkin surprise. So right here we have a fun pumpkin that looks a little concerned here with the expression on its face. And the surprise, of course, is this little cat, a calico cat, by the way, popping out of the pumpkin with a few curious ghosts looking on and a spider web out in the corner. And the picture is complemented by just a simple interior scene of some curtains, a window, and a floor. I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to do that drawing today. So why don't we go ahead and get started. Okay, let's get started with our pumpkin surprise drawing, and the surprise, of course, being this cute little kitten who's popping its head outside of the pumpkin, and of course a couple little spooky friends coming into the picture too. So I'm going to put this aside so that we can see it later when we're done with our picture. And I actually have here a picture that I made. This was my original drawing that I used as a guide for the colored one. So I'm going to be putting this on my tabletop. And on top of it, I'm going to put what you need, which is just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I'm going to put it on top of my drawing so it's an easy way for me to guide you through the drawing I made. This is not a coloring book drawing, it's a drawing that I made specifically for this project. You're going to need your paper. I suggest you use a pencil, and the reason why I say use a pencil is that if you make a mistake, you can easily erase it. And I think that's really important for you when you're doing a drawing like this, because you don't want to feel like you have to make a mistake and get a whole new drawing started. So you use pencil with an eraser nearby, separate or attached. I will use Sharpie marker. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to work on the cat, and then we're going to build the rest of the picture around it. So if this is our paper right here, and you find about the midpoint is about where the pumpkin's going to be. So the cat's head is going to be right above the midpoint. So I'm going to put a dot and a dot, and you can see that the two dots go at a diagonal. Those two dots are going to be the tips of my cat ears. Now the cat ears are going to be sort of like raggedy edge triangles. So like this, it's one little triangle, and like this is the other triangle. Those are going to be the cat's ears. Now right in between, we're just going to join it with a little bit of a bumpy line, and that bumpy line is there because we want to suggest fur. We're going to continue the fur in a bumpy line across one ear and another bumpy line across the other ear. So we have the ear basically blocked in. Let's make a little inner ear just by doing a skinny echo of the ear shapes we already have. Alrighty. Now we're going to come down and make the sides of the cat's face. So we're just going to curve our line in a bumpy way, just like before. Curve our line in a bumpy way and stop. So you see already we have ears and a head. Why don't we come in here and make a nose? The nose is going to be like a little heart shape. So we're going to make a little heart here in the center for the nose. We're going to add two lines coming out from the nose. And the eyes are going to be two little almond shapes, one on that side and one coming out from this side. Just two little almond shapes. You can put a little circle in the center and a tiny skinny line for the cat's eye looking at you. Now coming down right from the center of the nose, a little short line, a little bit of a V shape for part of the mouth, the upper mouth, And then we're going to add a little bit of the lower mouth is going to be like a little chin-like line. And then we're going to finish, bring this line over to the mouth, this line over to the mouth. Now cats have whiskers, so you might want to show some whiskers. And I've put 3 whiskers on one side. And I'm going to draw another part of the cat coming in here, just to suggest a little bit more shape to the cat's face, okay? Now, we're not going to see the whole cat. We're going to see the cat, like half of the cat coming out of the pumpkin. So we're going to come down, again with a raggedy line, slightly arching outwards and stop. That's going to be one paw and leg. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, a wiggly kind of raggedy line out and stop. Now we're going to make that chest of the cat. And you know, oftentimes a cat's chest is often white. So we may want to leave that white, or we could add color. We'll see. Now the paws, which normally you think would be difficult, they won't be difficult. We start with a wiggly line connecting the 2 arms. That's the top of the paw. We're going to come down with a curve and down with a curve on both sides. Down with a curve, down with a curve. So you see the cat is almost done. Now we're going to put these little shingly kind of gingerbread shapes there. And then we're going to draw some tiny claws coming out. That is basically your cat right there. We might add a few extra details, like just to show some definition in the fur coloring. So we'll come up here and just put a wiggly sort of triangular shape there. Make a couple lines coming out from the eyes. This just adds a little bit of an accent. Take this over there. We'll take this one over here. So again, that's going to help define the colors on the cat's face a little bit. Now we have the cat, and that, as I said, was not so difficult, right? Let's build the pumpkin around the cat's body. So we will start on one side by drawing some slightly scalloped lines coming out on one half of the cat, and now we're going to repeat it on the other half of the cat. So this part is going to be the opening of the pumpkin. This part right here is still part of the cat's body. It's its belly. We're going to come around again with these kind of scalloped lines. Just scallop them across, little bumps. And now, just like we did before on the ear, we're going to echo those shapes, and that'll create the inside edge of the pumpkin where it's been carved out. So this and this are the inside of the pumpkin, and this is the cat's belly. And if you want to just, you know, draw a few lines to make sure you know that's the cat's belly, you can do that. Now, the sides of the pumpkin are going to be 2 big curves, right? So we're going to have one curve come over here. We're going to have one curve come over here. And notice what I do, if I do one side, I go over to the other side. That's going to keep your drawing balanced. If you just try to draw one side and go all the way over, you're going to end up with something a little less even and balanced. Now we're going to do the same kind of scallop treatment down here for the bottom of the pumpkin. Big scalloped shapes. And now we see the cat in the pumpkin. Why don't we draw a pumpkin face? So you could do triangular eyes. I decided to do circle eyes for this. So I did one big circle and one big circle. Then, just like we did for the pumpkin right here, drawing the inside lining of the pumpkin, I'm doing that a little bit for the eyes here too, just to show that it was carved. Then I'm drawing a big circle for the eye here and here. And the pumpkin's not too sure he likes having the cat inside, so the pumpkin's got a little bit of a grimace. So I made it look almost like seagull lines. Come down, and echo, and echo. And then just on the bottom, echo, echo, and now let's draw some teeth for our pumpkin. Carved teeth there, and maybe a tooth here and a tooth there. Now how about a nose? We'll do a soft triangle nose. And the same thing with here and here. We're going to give it a little bit of a dimension by putting that line there. And now we're going to bring those veining lines down through the pumpkin. Now, the great thing to remember about this program is while you're watching it, if you need to stop the video and say, wait a minute, I need to catch up, stop it, rewind it, and you can, of course, get all those details you want to get into your picture without feeling rushed. Okay? That's probably the hardest part of the picture is right there what we drew. We drew the cat and the pumpkin. That was a lot of work. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build a window around the cat. So the first thing we're going to do is going to go up to the middle top of your paper, right along the edge here, and we're going to drop one line that goes down to the cat's ear and one that goes a little bit further, like that. Then we're going to take one line horizontally this way, and this one coming out from the cat's ear over here. Now we're not going to the edge of the page. We still have a good inch or so on either side. That's going to be where our curtains are. Now we're going to echo that line. This is part of the window pane. That's part of the window pane. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 panes. So in order to show the frame, we're just going to actually use the curtains to come down. So here's one curtain coming down. Here's one curtain coming down. And then we're just going to go in a little bit to make that frame. And that frame is only going to be visible a little bit on here. And it's not going to be visible at all over here. Then we have the curtain coming down. And these are just lines for the curtain. So let's just put some lines that wave their way down here. Like this. Just wavy lines. They do not go all the way down. And then we're going to put a curvy line at the base. And maybe we'll put one more line over here. So that is one set of curtains. Now let's start here. Same thing, we're going to come down with these lines. If it touches the pumpkin, you're going to stop, and then you're going to start again. And start over here, wavy, but remember, not going all the way down. We're stopping about the same height as we did with the other curtain line, and maybe one more right here. And remember how we did the bottom over here? We did a wavy line connecting all that, and that is the second set of curtains right there. So now we have these 4 window panes, and this is where we're going to have some spooky fun. So you can add what you want. If you want to put a bat, if you want to put a witch, if you want to put, you know, a moon, whatever you want. I'm going to put a ghost over here. Here's one ghost with some eyes looking in and a wide open mouth. And then I'm going to put another ghost over here. Now the ghost is behind the pane, so it's not going to go through the pane. It's outside. So that's why it stops when it hits the wood here. We're going to put a circle here. Whoops. and put another circle there, 2 eyes looking in, and also a little like, ooh, what's going on? Now over here, I decided to put a spider web. So I'm going to put a center of my spider web, and I'm going to first put these lines out like the spokes of a wheel, like on a bike. And the spokes of this wheel come out. They don't always go all the way out. Sometimes they stop short. Then go back to the center and you can do the scallop line, almost like an umbrella shape, and repeat it to create the web of your spider. And oftentimes a spider web doesn't go completely around. So I might have, a few lines over here connecting it to the window frame. And that's one of the reasons why maybe, you don't see all the lines like you think you will. Makes it look a lot more realistic. Then I'll just take a few lines, pretend I have a spider coming down from the web. Make sure they connect a little bit better here, there. And that is your drawing. You have your cat, your surprise cat, your pumpkin face, your curtains, your window frame, and spooky visitors, a ghost, and spider web. So next, we're going to start talking